Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tea Time with Teacup Entrepreneurs. I'm Stephanie Pellish, your hostess here at Tea Time, and I am very excited today to be joined by one of our Teacup members, Ria Savoy. Ria is a certified doula, a certified sleep consultant, and a trained newborn care specialist. All things that I know I wish I had just taken the leap and done with my four kids. And so I'm really excited to talk to her about what each of those things is, how they're different, how they can support, how she supports new parents. And so listen in and find out more about Ria. And so welcome, Ria.
Hi, thank
I'm
you for
glad
having
that,
me.
absolutely. I'm glad that you're here. I'm looking forward to this conversation. And I'm ready to just like dive right into the conversation because I'm curious what got you. So, what did you do first? Did you do the sleep consulting first, or were you a doula first?
So, I was a newborn care specialist first.
Great. Not even one of the
Yeah.
choices that I offered. So, you were a
But
newborn care specialist first. And what does that mean?
so basically what a newborn care specialist go in is that we go in and we teach the parents how to take care of their babies. And me personally, what I have done over the years, I consider myself doing doula work altogether when I actually learned what a doula was. Because I feel the way I support families, I have supported them like the whole family as a unit, to be quite honest with you.
Hmm.
Making sure mom was okay, teaching the both parents things that they need to know, simple thing as changing a diaper, how to hold a baby. Because people get a little weird when they're holding babies and they look like if they're gonna drop them. Like, okay, so let's teach you how to properly hold a baby and transfer a baby from one person to the other or one position to the other.
Yeah.
Um, I just bought you just a bath, a sponge bath, just a real bath.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I
yeah,
mean,
just
as a new mom, I didn't know that I wasn't going to be able to give the baby a bath when we first came home.
mhm,
And then the baby's so little. And then to put them in
yeah,
this little bathtub or in the sink, like there are pieces and parts that
yeah,
you might have some awareness of, but the actual like doing it and going through the process and knowing when it's safe enough to move them. I love that. I love that you're teaching parents this.
yeah. Simple thing is parents putting the baby on the changing table and walking away because the baby's a little and they won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
We don't do that. We never walk away from the babies. If you were to put the baby, if you need to put the baby somewhere, the best place for the baby is on the floor
Hmm. Yep.
because they can't go anywhere from there.
That's right. They can roll around, but they can't fall anywhere. So that's great advice.
Correct.
So
Correct.
what got you into like did you have younger experiences? Like did you always know that you wanted to work with babies? Like what got you into that kind of work?
Um, So I was a nanny for a while
Mhm.
and I actually loved it. And I had a friend who was a newborn care specialist and she was like, you should do this. You'll be great at it. And at the time, she was doing like 24-hour care, not even just overnight, so 24-hour care. And I was like, I don't know if I want to be in anybody's homes for 3, 4 months at a time. Like, that's just not my jam. So a year later, I called her up and I said, hey, how do I become a newborn care specialist? And she just chuckled. She's like, I told you. So I was really excited about it. I did a training and I guess I knew a lot just from being a nanny and just
Mhm.
from having nieces and nephews and being very involved and get pooped on and change diapers since I was like 8 years old. So
The
I didn't
lived
learn as much.
experience of it.
Yeah, I didn't learn as much out of the class besides the one thing I took away from that was the circumcision because I was very new to that. It's not something that we do culturally. I am originally from Trinidad, and the Muslims in Trinidad do that, but I am not a Muslim, so we didn't do that. So that was pretty new to me going into doing this work. And I just loved it. And I just wanted to learn everything there was to learn. I had a lot of hands-on experience in the first couple of years that I did this, going to doctor's appointments, um, talking to lactation consultants and stuff like that. I just learned a lot and just learned a lot by trial and error with the babies.
Yeah.
And like sleep conditioning them. At the time, I didn't even know that's what I was doing. Putting them on a sleep schedule, sort of, getting them to helping them to sleep through the night and all that good stuff. At the time, I didn't even know. I was just not organically just doing that on my own. And
Yeah.
then years later, I realized that sleep training is a thing. And I'm like, oh,
You
um,
were doing it without knowing that there was a formal
yeah,
name to it. And so is
yes.
that what led you to becoming a sleep consultant?
Yes, because I just needed to have the certification. Over the years, I've took different trainings and just
Mhm.
I really love like getting, and I call it setting them up for success because if we don't lay the foundation initially, then we have to literally hear our babies cry. And my goal is to have them not cry because even though I don't birth them, like it really bothers me when they cry. So
Yeah.
I just believe in setting them up for success. So the official training was just to have the certification behind what I was doing. And I did learn a lot actually from that training that helped me be a better sleep consultant.
Yeah.
So,
I remember when my oldest was born, she was not a great overnight sleeper. Her best sleep was like between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m., which really messed with my schedule because I'm a morning person, but then I was also sleeping until 11 a.m.
mhm.
And once I got onto like getting up in the morning again, I felt so much better. But I remember I read this book and they talked about like that last nap or like anything that happens after 5 p.m. should be bedtime. And so her bedtime at like 6 weeks old and for a few months was 5:30 p.m. And I just remember telling my dad, no, that's like her bedtime, like she's going to bed. And my dad was like, We didn't even eat dinner." I'm like, yeah, but that's what time she's going to bed. And also, she doesn't sleep very well. So, whenever she can go to sleep and get a good time,
Chunk of
like a
sleep.
good chunk of
Yeah.
sleep, that's what I'm doing. And it was the start of creating really good sleep routines and habits for us. Now, she woke up a lot. We had some other challenges, but I
Mhm.
know had I had somebody come in or had I had somebody to talk to that would have validated like yes, the 5:30 is good, even though she's waking up at night, because I think I knew babies wake up at night, right? Like that's part of it. But the toll that it takes on you, that the fact that you have to get up when they call, and I was nursing, and so the fact that it had to be me. And my husband couldn't relate because he wasn't doing those things and he had to go to work. So I look back and at the time I thought like, oh, a doula would be nice, but I saw it as a luxury. I didn't see it as something that would really be beneficial. And so I would love for you to talk about like it is a luxury, but in a like not in an unnecessary kind of way, in more of like that deeper real support. Like we didn't have somebody come into our house. Like my mom didn't come for a couple weeks and stay with us or my mother-in-law. My mom came for 2 days and then went back to work. My husband went back to work 3 days after she was born. Like I was home by myself.
Around
And so
myself.
I'd love for you to talk about like what does it like what is that benefit? Why would somebody really use that just because. I hate to say just because, but
Well, it's not really just because
yeah.
I'll tell you this, and I will tell you what my clients tell me. I had a client, she almost brought me to tears because she said she have other friends who don't didn't have help,
Hmm.
and they had this almost like what is it called? Mm, there's a word for it. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But in the evenings, they get very emotional. Everything comes out in the evening because they're so tired, right?
Yeah.
But my client said to me, she says, because I knew that you were coming in a couple hours, I didn't have that anxiety.
I
I
just
didn't
got a
have that
full
stress.
body yes, because
She says,
she,
because I knew that you were coming. And I go to work and I get in at night if I'm doing overnight and I talk to them. How was the day? What's going
yeah.
on? How is mom? How is dad? How is mom recovery? Is dad sleeping enough? How is dad feeling? Because I've learned that we need to include everybody's feelings,
Hmm.
which initially I honestly did not know that. But over the years, I have learned that we need to figure out, make sure everybody is feeling okay and is doing well. Um, and that's one of the things. Sometimes I've had clients that I go in and they don't want me to do anything. They just want me there for conversation, especially daytime. And I'm like, well, can I do a load of laundry for you? Can I meal prep for you? Can I empty a dishwasher? And they're like, no, just sit and talk to us.
There was
So
a
I would be like,
weekend, yeah, there was a weekend. My husband, he was working a second job nights and weekends, and my oldest didn't sleep well, and I woke up, it was a Saturday or Sunday, and I called my mom and I said, I need to sleep. Like, I need you to come and just so I can sleep. Like, I was exhausted. And she came and she's like, what do you need me to do? I'm like, just sit in my house with me while I sleep.
because
And
I
she did
think that
some
just
laundry, and
knowing,
like I knew that if something, like if I was asleep and the baby was asleep, she could get the baby, but it wasn't even about getting the baby. It was just about having that
support.
support. Yeah.
Yes,
And how
yes.
important it is.
Yeah. And sometimes you go in and people's clients will be like, okay, well, can you help with this? Can you help with that? Absolutely, I can help with that. But it's most of the times what I'm finding is that people just need the support. They just need to know that they're doing the right thing. Am I holding the baby right?
Yeah.
Is my feelings okay for moms? Like, is it okay for me to feel? I've had a mom said to me a few years ago, she was like, I love you, I trust you, but I'm afraid to come out of my house because I feel like by the time I come back, my baby won't be here. But she was having a little bit of, postpartum depression and anxiety, and she knew it and she talked about it because that's one of the conversations I like to have upfront with clients because especially for first time parents, moms especially, they don't know what the balance of the hormones, the
Yeah.
imbalance of the hormones do to your body.
Yeah.
So I try to have that conversation with them initially so that when I go in, if I see anything off, I bring it to somebody's attention. Because sometimes if you're not aware of it, you're just not aware of it and you don't know what to look for.
Right.
And going into a client's home and their space, we don't personally know them. We may have met them, talked to them on the phone for 30, 40 an hour, maybe, or meet them for 2 hours. But that's not enough time to actually get to really know your clients.
Right.
But over the years, I have just picked up instincts with my clients. Like if I would see some stuff and I'm like, oh, I don't like that, I would pull the husband aside and say, is this normal?
Yeah. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that because
Bec-
I know too, especially as a, well, not even especially as a first time mom. I think every time I put so much pressure on myself to be the perfect mom. And I, I didn't think everything needed to be perfect, but there were certain aspects of it. And you fill out those screening tools at the pediatrician, and we've talked about this a little bit, but I know like I filled out that screening tool, and there's a part of me that I know I was filling it out honestly, but I wonder like had my husband been sitting next to me, or like if I really was I trying to show that I was doing better than I was? Right? Or did it ask me the right questions? Like, could I have said, like, well, I didn't do this, but I am feeling another way. And I am
Right.
feeling stressed because she's not sleeping, and it took her a long time to latch and learn how to breastfeed and all of those things. And so
Mhm.
looking back, like I definitely had postpartum anxiety, maybe a little depression, but that anxiety was definitely there and it was not managed. And so it continued throughout my parenting journey. And then it continued with her because then she started having anxiety, but I couldn't handle her anxiety because I had my own anxiety. And
Right.
so I just see where like having support could have been such a relief for both of us,
Yeah.
even down the line.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it makes the transition to parenthood a little bit easier. I had one client said to me last year she didn't have help initially. I
Mhm.
think by the time she reached out to me, she was about 5, 6 weeks postpartum. She breastfed her baby, beautiful little girl, and she held her all day. She's like, I can't put her down. So I went in during the day to just see what was going on, to see how I can direct her. And I was there for 2 hours. And she's like, oh, she doesn't like to be swaddled. I can't get her to lay in her crib. I was like, okay. She had just fed, I think. And she's like, oh, now she's ready to go to sleep. Says, okay, where's her sleep space? Let's take her upstairs. Let's, set up the room for her. So we turned on the sound machine. I swaddled her and I just held her. And she went to sleep. I held her for 10 minutes, pat her butt. She went to sleep. I put her down. She slept a sleep cycle about 30, 40 minutes. She stirred. I tried to soothe her in the crib, like just with my hands on her. And she didn't go back. I picked her up and I just sit with her, pat her butt a little bit, 10 minutes. She went back to sleep and I put her down. We had to wake her up after 2 hours because I had to leave. Mom had an appointment. And she's like, she have never done this. I said, you just need to give her the opportunity to do it. It's not that they can't do it. A lot of times people don't believe in swaddling. There's a lot of
Mhm.
controversy
Mhm.
around that also. But baby, just imagine you being snug in your mom's
Yeah.
belly, nice and cozy. You come out, and
I still
especially
want
in
to
the
be
winter
swaddled.
time, right? I love my blankets at night as an adult. And
Yes.
I love that heaviness of the blanket. Like I just love it. And now you're out in the world, especially in the winter time. The one thing parents, even in the summertime, but I think in the wintertime a little bit more, they're like, oh, I can't put my baby down. You cannot put your baby down because your baby is cold. If your baby is cold, they're not going to go to sleep. They want that body heat. But
Yeah.
if you dress them warm enough, you
Yeah.
put on an undershirt, a short sleeve undershirt, nice cotton little onesie, and you swaddle them, they're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Room temperature is a big deal also because I've had clients that had their house at 65 and I'm like, I double swaddle my babies because I'm like, they gotta go to sleep because
Yeah.
they gotta go to
Add an
sleep.
extra
Like you
layer.
can't hold it. Yeah, add an
Yeah.
extra layer. I mean, and I watch them because you're not supposed to do some of that stuff. It's not sleeps, it's not safe. But if the house is cold and the kids need to be warm, like I double swaddle them and I watch them
Yeah.
because they got to sleep. At the end of the day, they got to sleep. So, um, temperature wise, the room should really be between 68 and 72 degrees. I feel like 70 is that sweet spot where it's not too hot and it's not too cool, and it's ideal for them with one swaddle.
Yeah.
Um,
I, I'd love to know, like, you go in and you do that, right? And I know for me, again, I'm gonna keep going back to my own experience as a mom,
mhm.
but I could get my daughter down for a nap and she would sleep for 30 minutes. If I was not home, she would take a 3 hour nap. Or so on the weekends, if my husband and I were both home, I would leave so he could put her down and then I would come back because then she would sleep for 3 hours. Because again, we created that anxious cycle. And so I'm wondering, like, what I can see how, like, had you come in and I have experience as a pediatric OT, and I know from my experience coming into people's houses, I'm like, if your kid eats with me and eats a new food, that's great. But unless they're doing that when I'm not here, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter.
Right.
And so I'm curious, like, how do you help families to make that transition of, okay, you came in, you're calm, you have that experience, you're patting the baby, you're putting the baby down, the baby rustles, you're patting the baby and goes back down again for a long period of time. How are you helping mom to translate that tomorrow so that when you're not there, or what does that experience look like with you?
So I try to I'm sorry. I explain to them why, like, how should I say this? I explain to them the baby's needs are being met. Once your baby's needs are being met, let's just say you just fed her. Like this one client in particular, I also watch her feed her. We listen for the swallows. I don't let babies pacify on the boob because that's how habits form. And then they're on the boob all the time. I literally just had a conversation
My
with somebody about
oldest.
that. Yeah,
She's going to be the
so
one I keep bringing up.
that's
She's
okay
the one that we had that I I think I would have benefited the most with, but
from, yeah. So just letting them know that the baby needs are met. And it's okay sometimes for them to fuss a little bit. I have a 2 minute rule with newborn babies. Give them 2 minutes. Chances are they're gonna fuss, and there's a difference between fussing and crying. I try
Mhm.
to teach them that when I'm there so that they know what it is. And I just try to tell them relax because I've had situations where I walk in the door, everybody's crying in the house because the baby's crying and nobody know what to do with it. And
Uh-huh.
I walk in, I wash my hands, and I take the baby, stop crying. And they're like, "How do you do that?" Because I am not anxious. I am calm. And I know it's easier said than done
Right.
because I had that experience with my niece and her baby. Because
Yeah.
I'm the family, I was like, I got it, mom. I can do this. I held the baby. Man, that kid cried because I was so anxious. She's like, Auntie, I'll take her. She took her, and I just felt my shoulders went like this. And I'm like, oh my God. So
Well,
this
there
is what moms experience.
right. Well, and there's that emotional piece, right? Like
Yes.
my whole being is tied to making sure that this baby feels comfortable. Whereas
Hmm.
when you're coming in, and again, I can say this from my experience as an OT, like you don't have that same emotional attachment, and you've got more experience to see enough babies that you
Right.
know that this 5 minute period of
You're
crying
okay.
is not impacting their entire life, and they're not going to need therapy
Yes.
because they're crying for 5 minutes because they wouldn't go down for a
Yes.
nap. But in that
Yes.
moment, as a mom, as a new mom, it's hard to see outside of that moment, and you're tired.
Yes.
And
And I
you're,
try to help them see that.
yeah,
And sometimes I literally would have moms take deep breaths and then give them back the baby.
yeah,
Because I always say I'm not the magic pill for the babies. It's just that I am calm. I am the calm in the storm. So when I take the baby, and I joke with them, I was like, yeah, they just needed a little reread time. That's all.
yeah,
Or they miss me or something like that and have
yeah,
them laughing. But the reality is they just need to relax. And I said, I normally suggest to parents if your baby is having a fussy time and you can't figure it out and they're crying, you're better off putting them down for 2 minutes, go to a different room, take a couple deep breaths in, relax, and then come back and start it all over again. I said, because that little reset helps you and it helps them to calm down because now you pick them up and you're a bit calmer and they sense that they pick up
yeah. I
all
my
our
my
energy they
body
pick
is
up.
having a physical response to this conversation. I am remembering things. You're also helping me heal a little bit because I'm feeling some of that relief. Like even thinking about like had you walked in and said like, okay, taking the baby for a minute and take that breath. It's so important. So how do you help families to build that trust in themselves to know that, okay, putting the baby down is going to be okay for 2 minutes because I'm going to take care of myself. Like, how do you help a new mom or a new dad, but a new mom in particular, navigate
Just
that?
telling them, just helping them to understand that it's okay. The diaper is dry, the baby's fed. They're just most times it's overtiredness when they're like hysterical like that, or if they have some indigestion stuff going
Mhm.
on and they're uncomfortable. And I teach them the signs of, I'm not a doctor, it's not medical advice, but I will teach them the little signs that I know. And I would say, this is what, if this is going on, this is what I think it might be. If you have concerns, go to your pediatrician. And one of the things that I do also is I do educate them on what to look for coming up, maybe not, because I've had situations where most recently a couple months ago where I went in to help a client with their baby sleep. I think the baby was like 2 months at the time, and she was taking 2 hours to sometimes drink 3 ounces of milk. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
we're going to bring that one right back to my first.
yeah, I was like, that's not normal.
No.
So then I tell them, I says, tell me what are the things she's been doing? And they started telling me all the stuff. And I was like, well, did you talk to your pediatrician about this? They're like, well, not in detail. And, again, sometimes a pediatrician shush them a little bit. That's a different conversation.
Mhm.
So I give them a list of questions to take to the pediatrician.
Mhm.
And I tell them, I said, anything that's going on with your baby, I want you to bring it up with your pediatrician and make sure they give you the answer that you want. If they're not giving you the answers, then you need to look for another pediatrician.
Yeah,
Do not let them shush you, especially if something is off. As a parent, you know it in your gut. And I always say to
absolutely.
parents, especially moms, I say, you carry that baby for 9 months in your belly. You would know when something is going on with that baby. I says, if
Yeah,
I know and I did not birth them, you know as a mom. I says, remove the fear because it's normal to have a little bit of fear. Remove the fear and tell me what you're feeling.
right. Well, and I
Whatever
think
that
with
is,
right.
that's what it is.
And I think with pediatricians too, and I've had this conversation with many families, is they are so immune to the small things that, oh, my baby takes a long time to feed. Well, they've heard that 15,000 times, but that might not be normal for your baby. Like there might be
Correct.
something going on with your baby. And so it's no, you know what? It feels wrong. And having a pediatrician that listens and hears what you're saying and then makes either a suggestion or the right referral is so important. And, you
Yes.
know, I always say like pediatricians are looking at your child's medical health. They are not developmental specialists.
No, they're not.
And families, parents don't understand that your pediatrician is not a developmental specialist. And so
Mm-hmm.
that means that they don't always know what to tell you when your child's not has a little quirk. And I
Yeah.
think I think there's more conversation now happening to help pediatricians and give them more of that. But that's why we have developmental pediatricians. That's why we have
Mm-hmm.
other neurologists and behavioral doctors because they are the ones that are looking more at like the social, emotional, and behavioral development versus their health development.
Right.
So that's a big soapbox for me.
It really is. It really is. It's just all about education at the end of the day. And when I go into a situation, I always tell clients, like, I don't know everything. I
Mhm.
says, but I'm happy to teach you what I know. And I normally teach them also how to advocate for their babies because I've been doing this since 2007. And I have had so many experiences where first time parents, they shush them, they send
Yeah.
them home, and then like I see the signs of stuff. And again, I am not a medical professional. I don't diagnose kids or none of that. But when I see something, I would mention it to the parents and I would tell them, pay attention to this. If this happens, and there was a one client in particular, I saw the signs like within the first week, and I was just like, oh my God. So I went to the doctor with them the first time. I mean, it wasn't, they wouldn't do anything, and I knew that. So we didn't bring up anything. But I was only there with her for 2 weeks, and I showed her some of the things that he was doing.
Hmm.
And I said to her, this is only going to get worse. I said, and when it gets worse to the point where you can't put him down, I want you to take him in. And these are the things I want you to ask. Tell the doctor and
Yeah,
tell them if you need to that your newborn care specialist saw all this stuff
yeah,
because it helps validate what they're saying because they shush first time parent. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about.
right. Well, and
So
again,
I'm
like they
very
hear
big on
sometimes those
education.
same things over and over that,
Yes,
oh, my kid doesn't eat vegetables. Well, kids don't like to eat vegetables. Well, my kid only eats chicken nuggets. Well, that's a problem.
right,
But you told me that they don't
right,
eat vegetables. So sometimes it's about how you phrase the question or how you phrase your
right.
concern, what the pediatrician is listening to or hearing.
Yeah.
How, what part of the pregnancy or what part, like when do you, I'll say ideally, when do you like to get involved with a family? Like at what point, I'm assuming during the pregnancy versus after the delivery.
It all depends. Some
Okay.
people don't even know that a doula or newborn care specialist exists.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get that call like late in the game, like at 8 months or 7 months. I've gotten a wide range. I've had second time clients that they call me as soon as they pee on the stick. Some of them didn't even tell their husbands. I get that phone call. I just peed on the stick and I think I'm pregnant. I would be due, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh. They know how valuable it was the first time. They don't want to miss out on you the second time. I love that.
So,
That speaks volumes to the work that you're
yeah.
doing and
And
how
I also had
supportive you
clients
are.
that say, I I had a client last year. She was like, "Well, I think we're gonna try to have a baby, start trying in November." I was like, "Okay." She's like, "I don't care what you cost. I am gonna have you at least for 3 weeks for my baby." I'm like, "Okay, we can figure it out when that time comes."
So
And
they're
she's one of
calling
the
you even before they're pregnant to make sure that you've
to make sure.
got
And I'm like, if this is too far out, like, because she said to me, she's because I referred someone else to her. And not that the person wasn't good, but she just referred me.
she
Her
resonated
family
with you.
swears
Or
her sister used me, and her
Mhm.
sister was really upset when I couldn't do her second kid. So when well, I helped her with with the baby for sleep. So when I get there, her mom was like, "Thank you so much for coming. She really needs you." And I'm like, okay. And then her sister came. She's like, I told her to call.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. She was like, we can't have anybody else take care of our babies. We just have to have you. And I'm like, I said to them, I'm getting old. I was like, I can't do this work forever. She's like, but you just have to come for me. I was like, okay. I was like, we'll figure it out. It's totally fine. We'll
So
figure it out.
what does it look like? So you've got the different roles that when I did your introduction, you're a certified doula, a certified sleep
Mhm.
consultant, and then also a certified newborn care specialist or a
Train
trained
newborn care
newborn
specialist.
care
Yeah.
specialist. So what does it look like in each of those roles? So I'm not just calling and saying like, "Hey, come to my house." Like I'm sure each of those is different in how you show up.
Well, yes and no, because what I'm finding is it all intertwines with each other. I
Hmm.
don't know how to go to someone's house as a sleep consultant and just be a sleep consultant because of the knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
If I see something that's need to be addressed postpartum, I address postpartum. If I see they're doing something wrong, like caring for their newborn, I will absolutely say this, you should do it this way versus this way, it will be a little bit whatever.
Hmm.
So I feel like people who hire me gets the best of all three worlds with me because I don't know how to shut off one to be the other,
Hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
at the end of the day, it all works together to make um to make it better. It all works together to make it better. It's not just one aspect of it, because
Yeah.
let's just say,
Well,
so
because babies, you're in a family, and so like it their sleep is impacting their feeding. Their feeding is impacting their ability to play. Their bonding with mom is impacting, like it is all tied together that if you just focus
yeah,
on one piece, you're missing the
right,
wholeness of the baby and the wholeness of
right,
the family. And
yeah.
I think that's where when somebody hires you, they get that holistic support. You just happen to have
Hmm.
different certifications that cover you in different areas so that when you
Yeah.
come in, they get the best of all of the worlds.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know how to show up as one thing, but
Fair enough. You want
I'm
to
the
give those
person,
families what it is that they need.
yeah, and I'm just the person that I'm so used to going in and fixing. So I get in and I let them tell me. So tell me what's going on. And I've been in situations where there was other people on the jobs, and I actually had to like pull myself back a little bit from that because it was just a coverage shift. So when I cover for anyone, I just go in and do exactly that. I don't go in to, okay, let's have this conversation. What's going on? Tell me what's going on. What can I
Right.
fix tonight for you? But
Understanding when it's time and when you're needed for
yeah,
other things.
but
Yeah.
it's just who I am. I like to go in and fix because if I help the babies and the parents, they're better parents. They're better for it. They
Yes.
enjoy being parents better. They enjoy their babies better. They enjoy the process better. And that's kind of the goal too at the end of the day is that they enjoy this process because I've had conversations with moms who say, I really didn't enjoy this phase with my baby because all my baby did was cry
Yeah.
and I didn't know what to do. And, I just didn't know. And they didn't know how to set the babies up for success. So
Yeah.
they just don't know. So that's why I just want to make it the experience of parenthood better for parents, where they enjoy the
I love
process
that.
of being parents because you don't get back that time with your babies.
No, I mean, I can just
Yeah.
see and feel how much you lit up talking about that because my next question was going to be what's your favorite part about the work? And I feel like
Snuggling the babies.
I feel that when you were talking about patting the baby, I was like, no, patting a little baby. Like I
Oh,
have
I
that,
love
like
it.
they're just so little, and my babies
Yeah.
were really little, so they just fit right here,
Oh,
and you could
yeah.
just pat them to sleep. And I don't want to have to do that every night and deal with the baby anymore, but there is that like missing those little snuggles, the little baby
Yeah.
smell. And so the fact that
I
you get to
love
do
it.
it all the time.
Yeah. I sometimes have to remind myself, okay, you're on the job. You're not here to spoil the babies, but I just
Yeah,
love the snuggles. And I try to also help my clients bond with their babies. Like for dads, there's
yeah,
studies that suggest that if dads do skin to skin, they get that paternal instinct like moms have maternal
yeah,
instincts. And I tried that out with a client many years ago, maybe about 10 years at this point. Dad would end up being home because he was in between jobs. And we had a routine where mom and I, obviously, she was breastfeeding. So we get up with the baby at night. And after that 5, 6 o'clock feeding, he will take the baby and he would sit with her on his chest, cover her up, and they would have that couple
the
hours of
snuggle
snuggle
time.
time so that we
Yeah.
can go back to sleep and he have that snuggle time. When I tell you that dad could not hear that baby cry, it was unbelievable. One day I'm in the bathroom, I heard her crying. I come out of the bathroom and he's over. He's like, is she okay? She's just crying. I was like, she's totally fine. She's okay. He's like, Ria, I can't hear her cry. He's like, it does something to me. I'm like, really? I was like,
She's
that's
already
all
got
that
him
skin to
wrapped around
skin.
her little finger. Uh-huh.
All that. I mean, she was 8 months, and then when I left, she was doing really well. I don't know what happened. They called me one day, and the mom was like, "You need to talk to him because he wants me to go in every time she cry." And I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? I was like, we had this conversation. He's like,
Yeah.
Ria, I still can't hear her cry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I encourage dads to do that skin to skin. For people that does adoption situation or
Hmm.
have surrogate, I highly recommend them initially to snuggle the crap out of those babies because they need it. It's That's a separate conversation, but
Yeah.
snuggle those babies, do that skin to skin. It is so important for skin to skin with newborns, at least the first 5 to 6 weeks of life, I normally say, because after that, we try to get them in a little bit of a rhythm and a routine. I mean, we try, but I really encourage snuggling your babies at, to get that.
Yeah.
They feel secure. Moms, your your happy hormones start
Well,
flowing, or, it just
and
makes it
that's where
better.
too, as a mom, it's like you feel like you're supposed to be doing all of these things and reminding yourself that the snuggle time is productive. Like getting nap trapped,
Hmm.
as they say, is a productive opportunity to just be in that moment.
And enjoy it because it doesn't
Oh,
last.
no.
Sometimes by the time they're 3 months, I have a baby right now. She's such a little independent thing. You can't, after like 8, 9 weeks around that time, you couldn't snuggle her anymore. Like you had to put her down, put her to bed. And I'm like, so I said to her mom, I was like, so I've noticed that she is wanting to just be put down, fed and put down at night. So please continue to do that during the day. She was like, yeah, she cries when we try to hold her. I
She's like, I'm fine,
was
leave
like,
me alone.
she
So
does exactly that.
I'm gonna pivot here a little bit, but I'm curious,
Mhm.
what made you start your own business in sleep consulting and doula care? How did you, because were you
Oh,
always in
well,
business by yourself, or did you
I mean,
get
I've
there in a
worked
transition?
independently, and I would have to tell you this, Jesus, because so when I did this, I got certified as a sleep consultant in 24. And my wrap up meeting with the person who I trained with, did my program through. She's like, so, how are you going to get sleep clients? I was like, oh, through word of mouth, She's like, you need a website. So that's how it started. And I was just primarily focusing on sleep, but 2025 was a great year for me on a big scale of things because God had different plans for me. Um, so I had created Little Angel Sleep Solutions was born, and it was primarily focused on sleep. And then, like I said, God had a different plan for me about the postpartum aspect of it, like doing it on that scale. And I struggled because it's not something that I wanted to do on the scale that He wants me to do it, basically. And I really struggled the first half of the year. And then finally in June, I said, okay, Lord, like, if you really want me to do this, you just need to send me 3 clients. And this was in June. So from June to, I want to say, September, I had like 20 phone calls for postpartum.
Oh my goodness. I thought you were gonna say like five. No, 24.
No, it
Okay.
was
He was like,
insane.
yes,
And
and I'm serious.
yes, and I knew I got two of the jobs, but I knew it wasn't more about me getting the work. It was more about him telling me this is where he wants me to be because I was actually fighting it.
Yeah, trusting
Because
it.
it's not something, well, I didn't want to do it on the scale he wants me to do. Because
Yeah.
now I have a couple independent contractors working alongside me, and that's not something that I envision for myself. So I was scrambling because I was like, oh, okay. And he gave me peace with it. So I started building, I started doing the things, getting the contract together, I was networking all along, but just on a different scale and just getting myself prepared for when the time come where he send me these clients so that I can, help a little bit more people.
Yeah.
So that's how it came about. And I'm here in March. Officially, it will be a year that I launched Little
Congratulations.
Angel Sleep Solutions. So thank you. And I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited about it, instead of being scared. I think I went through that phase of again, not wanting to do it, being scared again. And then he gave me peace with it because I was like, if you need me to do this, Lord, you just have to give me the peace and the knowledge and the understanding to go with it. So I've been learning a whole lot
Yeah.
in the last year about business because I really did not know much about the business aspect of it because I'm the person that go in and do the work.
Yeah.
But now on both sides a bit because I will never not do this work because I love taking care of families. I love supporting families. Um,
Well,
and I
and
think it also made me realize how much I love supporting families.
yeah. Well, and part of, I know for me, like part of building my business and growing my business, it was almost like another baby. Like, okay, my
Yes,
business is at the beginning. It needs a
yes.
lot of attention. I need to nurture
Hmm.
it. I need to help it grow. I need to figure out like what direction do I want it to go in?
Yeah.
And now my business is in like the toddler stage, and
Hmm.
sometimes there are some pain points in there of like, okay, we
Right,
didn't get that
right,
part right. My business
right,
is having a
right.
tantrum.
Yeah. It's trial
I'm
and
gonna
error
have a
too, and you
tantrum.
learn as you go along. So it's all
Yes.
good. I'm along for the ride. I think even being a part of your group has helped me, and I know it will help me more once I can attend some of the events and all of that. And I've met some amazing humans during networking, and I didn't even realize that women could be so supportive of each other. And everybody that I'm meeting so far has been so supportive. And I just love that. I love, love, love that.
Thank you for
Because I
sharing
didn't know that existed.
that.
Yeah, I
And
did
that
not know
was
that existed.
me neither. It was something that I had always wanted and saw more in a transactional or superficial way. And
Hmm.
Teacup was like, you know, I went to this retreat and sat at a table and had this experience of other women who were growing businesses. And I was like, oh, this feels good. And I came home and I started creating what is now Teacup. And when other women say to me, like, I'm realizing that women can support each other, like, that is my mission is for
Yeah,
women to learn that we can be supportive of each other
absolutely.
and we can
Absolutely.
feel supported by other
Hmm.
women
Yeah,
because there's so much animosity, there's so much out there that says that we shouldn't. And
right,
so to
right.
create a space where like it just warms my heart for you to say that because that is so much of what my mission is to create a space for women to work together, to rise together, to connect, to
Hmm.
collaborate
Yeah,
from a real place of connection
support.
and
Yeah.
respect and
Hmm.
all those things. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to learn more about you or they wanted to learn more about the services that you offer through sleep consulting or doula, where would they find you? Where can they find you on the internet?
So I do have a website, littleangelsleepsolutions.com, and I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. You can reach out that way. I don't think my phone number is out there, but you can definitely email me. There's a cheat sheet for sleep. If you were to go in my bio on Instagram, you can sign up and get that for free. I'm always happy to get on a phone call for a consult with anyone. Even if I can't work with you, I will help you through whatever or get the resources that you need. Just walk you through your process if I can personally help you. But yeah,
Love that. And I will make sure that all those links and all the places that they can connect are in the show notes. So if they have any questions, they can go and find you. But thank you for this conversation. Like I said, I feel like I healed. I had some visceral responses to remembering my own experiences, but I also found some healing just the way that you're talking about how you support the families and how you're supporting moms and how you're helping them feel validated and again, not lonely in their journey. I think that's so important in what we're doing in Teacup and what you're doing in your work with moms and for women. So thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for being a part of our community and for hanging out with us and sharing in this conversation today.
Oh, welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Tea Time with Teacup Entrepreneurs. And go ahead and follow us, subscribe, hit like, do all the things that we do on YouTube, and make sure to tune in next time for our next episode with a Teacup member.